Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into That's What I Think with Brandon Swanson. I am your fearless host, Brandon Swanson, and I want to start off by saying on Monday this week, it was the 16-year anniversary of 9/11, and we just have to remember those who we lost in what has been one of the worst days as an American. And we also have to remember all those who fought to try and get people out of the buildings, and then those who, again, lost their lives while trying to do that. And then, of course, everything that happened after when going to war in the Middle East. And I think that it's a somber time because, 16 years later, it doesn't bring back moms or dads, but we certainly remember everybody who we lost, all Americans. And we hope that we will be able to get to one day a spot where we don't have to worry about loss like that ever again. But let's get into our first topic for today, and that is talking about Ezekiel Elliott, the guy who, for the Dallas Cowboys, everyone knows him. He's made himself pretty darn known, whether it's been in the football world or being an immature young man outside of it. He played this past weekend, even though he was suspended, or supposed to be suspended, 6 games by the NFL for domestic violence. And this domestic violence goes back to 2016 when allegedly he had beat up his then girlfriend, Tiffany Thompson. And there's just not necessarily the footage in the feeds to say that absolutely, yes, he did that. With Ray Rice, absolutely, yes, he beat the crap out of his girlfriend and fiance and now wife. But there wasn't that type of video footage for Ezekiel Elliott. So it's still alleged, but with the NFL, they're very interesting. It's, we'll put 4 games on that. Well, you did this and there was video footage. We'll give it 1 game. We don't know what we're going to get with the NFL or Roger Goodell because they're so wishy-washy and they're not consistent across every field. We all know that. We can all agree there. But Friday, U.S. District Judge Amos Mazant blocked the NFL's 6-game suspension of Ezekiel Elliott. So what does that do? It allows the running back to play in Week 1, Sunday Night Football, against the team that beat them twice last year, the New York Football Giants, and it's prime time, Sunday night. So you know what that means? That means ratings, and that means money. So the NFL needs you, Ezekiel Elliott, and so do the Dallas Cowboys. So the ruling, going back to the ruling made no judgment on whether Ezekiel Elliott committed a domestic violence crime or not. Mazant's ruling was about the fairness of the appeals process with the NFL, something he believed, as the judge overseeing that case, the NFL was not fair in their appeals process for Ezekiel Elliott. Now remember, the suspension for Elliott was upheld earlier in the week by arbitrator Harold Henderson. However, he did not make a ruling. He just upheld the suspension. So we have to remember the same type of deal happened with New England quarterback Tom Brady just a few seasons ago when Deflategate came about. So Tommy was able to play in 2015. However, we all know he was then suspended a season later, 4 games in 2016 for Deflategate. Now let me say this very quickly. These are 2 separate things. Tom Brady suspended for Deflategate 4 games. Ezekiel Elliott, domestic violence, 6 games. They were trying to make an example of Tom Brady. They don't need to make an example of Ezekiel Elliott. They've done this before with many guys on that same Dallas Cowboys team. But here's the thing with me. You give 4 games for Deflategate, for potentially deflating footballs, because that really made a whole lot of difference in a game where you beat the crap out of the Colts by 30 points. Yeah, didn't matter. But now you're going to give 6 games to a guy who's allegedly committed to domestic violence against his girlfriend. Where's the consistency here, Roger Goodell in the NFL? Where is it? Oh, and yeah, Joe Mixon, a guy who We saw, and Ricky Whitmer and myself talked about on our podcast, he beat, boom, right in the face, a girl on camera. On camera. And what was he doing week 1 in the NFL? He was playing a game against the Baltimore Ravens without any fear of a suspension. No suspension for you, Joe Mixon. But we also have a suspension for Ezekiel Elliott. See, this is what I'm not understanding. There's no consistency. No consistency here with the NFL and what they're trying to do. They want to try and make examples of people, but they don't do it in the right way. I also am confused with all of the rulings and how they're coming about. So Ezekiel Elliott, ultimately, he's probably going to be able to play this entire season because the judge wants to be able to get all the facts straight, which you know how that, it doesn't happen 1 hour like it does in Law and Order. Doesn't happen that way. Wish it did, because then boom, 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 we'd have cases solved just like that. This could take months. And after months are over, so will the NFL season. And Ezekiel Elliott would have played all 16 games plus more if the Dallas Cowboys are able to get to the playoffs. And he will have made a huge impact for them as opposed to if Zeke wasn't playing for them. Because we certainly know that if Zeke's playing for them, Cowboys, they're most likely winning. Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden don't have the same ring. Let's be honest about it. The NFL, though, get your act together. Let's get on the same page and let's be consistent with something for once. Topic number 2 this week is also going to stay in the NFL. This past week, it was Thursday Night Football that kicked it off. It was the New England Patriots playing at home in Foxborough against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I just want to go back very quickly to my Kansas City Chiefs video where I predicted what the Chiefs would go this season, 12-4, and I also predicted that the Kansas City Chiefs would go into Foxborough and win a tight game against the New England Patriots, which, wow, it seems they did. A comment, though, I got from username Giant L. You're dumb as fuck for picking against the Pats at home. But hey, I'll let you figure that one out on your own. Pats win 45-17. You know what I have to say to that? Yeah, that feels good. Feels really good. Yeah. Let's see who was right on that one. Son of a gun. Well, maybe I wasn't all that wrong in this one because not only did the Kansas City Chiefs beat the New England Patriots, they put up the most points against the Patriots in the Bill Belichick era. Oh my gosh! How does that feel? That feels great. But let me say something else, and I think my buddy Sean Anderson will be able to appreciate this. The day before and the day of, leading up to the game, everyone was saying, New England Patriots, 16-0. Got a good ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, it did, until it didn't anymore. But then people were saying after the Patriots lost, what's wrong with them? What is wrong with these Patriots? They don't have this going right. No one's doing anything. They're losing everyone in the receiving core. No one can catch the ball. No one can do this. Blah, blah, blah. Offensive lines. Are these the same New England Patriots you were just talking about 4 hours before? Yeah, they are. But you know what you're not doing? Is you're not giving the Kansas City Chiefs the credit that they deserve. Yes, the Patriots lost a game. Oh my goodness, the Browns do it every year. It's not the end of the world. They lost to a good Kansas City Chiefs team. Now let me go through. Alex Smith, 368 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yes, he played out of his mind, but he picked the right game to do it. Kareem Hunt, not one single fumble at Toledo. His first NFL game and his first carry, a fumble. A lost fumble. He was pretty upset about that. He went on to carry the ball for 148 yards and a touchdown, and then receiving 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that made up for it. And then Tyreek Hill, 133 yards and a touchdown. That's the Kansas City Chiefs offense. The Kansas City Chiefs offense that people said, you know what, all they got is Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. After that, there's not a whole lot. Yeah, there's not much. idiots. This is a team that's going to be underrated all season long because they're just not that high power looking offense on paper. They don't have multiple 6'5" receivers. They don't have that. The Chiefs aren't going to beat you with their height. They're going to beat you with their speed. They're going to beat you with their defense. They allowed 27 points for the New England Patriots, but they allowed no touchdowns to be thrown by the GOAT, Tom Brady. The new addition to the Patriots, Brandon Cooks, held to 88 yards. Mike Gillislee, 3 touchdowns, 45 yards on the ground. That's it. Those touchdowns were it. Then a couple of field goals from Steven Gostkowski. It's not the Patriots that people should be looking at and saying, what's the problem? It's the Chiefs that people should be looking at and saying, dang, these guys are good, and we underestimated them. That's what you should be looking at. Because right now, Kansas City is doing what I think not many people believed they would. One is beat the Patriots in Foxborough, which just doesn't happen. But 2, score that many points. And 3, start the season off 1-0. I know 1 and 3 are basically the same thing, but no one was expecting Kansas City to win week 1. And now, maybe you just don't know when they're going to lose. Because that Kansas City Chiefs team looked damn good. And that's the team that I predicted to go 12-4. Those Kansas City Chiefs, oh yeah, they look good. So don't let me down now. That's what I think for this week. And before I end today, I know that almost everybody out there knows what's been going on in the South, in Texas, and in Florida. Terrible hurricanes, ruining people's homes, their businesses, the places that they live. In Texas, in Florida, people don't have homes to go back to, lives that might be ruined. And we have a chance to help. We have a definite chance to help. Head to redcross.org and do your part. We're trying to do it here at MVP, and we hope that you can too. That's one thing that we can all agree on as Americans. Come together to help other fellow Americans. So again, head to redcross.org and help those in Texas and in Florida to build and become one again. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next week. So long, friends.